Okay. Hello, friends, and welcome to yet another episode of the Hinesights podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Hines, and I couldn't tell you how damn excited I am right now to be talking with the one, the only, the great, the myth, the legend, Miss Hannah Bonecutter. Hannah Bonecutter is a captain of industry, an entertainment mogul, and just an all-around great human being. And she's on the show with us right now to share with us her incredible story. It's going to be a wild ride. Let's get into it right away. We need to get into it. I'm so excited. Hannah, how are you today?
I am blessed beyond belief. Thank you so much, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I'm better now that you're here with us on the Hinesights podcast, which is so awesome. So Hannah, let's before we get into the depths of your story and all the work you're doing in your various fields, which you're multifaceted, which is incredible. We'll get into all of that. But can we first start off with, where did you come from? How were you raised, and where were you born?
Yes, excellent question. always, where's the beginning? So my beginning is in Chicago, and for the first couple years of my life, I actually lived on the north side in apartments with my parents that raised me, and then we moved to when I was about 3, right next to the west side of Chicago. For those of you that are familiar with the different sides of Chicago, I like to call it the best side as well. But right next to the west side in a suburb called Oak Park, which is very diverse in multiple ways. And that's where most of my upbringing was in terms of public education, community involvement, et cetera. But I also had a lot of ties with downtown Chicago, which again, just mentioning that because that's vastly different from the different sides of the city with church. And my church was located downtown that I grew up in. So that is where I'm from, and was raised in a multi-ethnic, multicultural household in a very, again, diverse community in wonderful city of Chicago, of course, the best.
Beautiful. I love it. Some love for Chicago. That's amazing.
Yes.
Hannah, you are a captain of industry. You are very multifaceted. Can you break down all of the industries you work in today?
Yes. Thanks for asking. So the different industries that I work in include education as a licensed educator, federal government, being a presidential management fellow right now, PMF for short. Public health, what I do in federal government is currently is very within public health field, and I have my master's of public health, so that's a expertise area for me. And professional organizing industry, I started my own business in professional organizing entitled Bonecutter. We organized to the bone several years ago, where I service clients' organizing needs. And then the arts. And within the arts, I'm a filmmaker, and I've done many different roles in filmmaking, starting with acting many years ago, and then evolved to executive producer, writer, and more. And then I'm also a spoken word poet and a model, and then public speaking. But public speaking is kind of intertwined in all of those. So yes.
You are a busy woman.
Yes, busy and balanced. Balance is key.
Busy and balanced. I love that. Busy and balanced. That's so crucial. I can relate. Okay, so Hannah, what have been in these industries and just in your general life altogether, some of your toughest barriers, your obstacles in your way, or the challenges in life, and how did you overcome them?
Right. I would say one of the big ones that I can't imagine will ever leave is being a woman of color, especially in America. Racism and discrimination is worldwide, but America is a very heightened place for it. I think that's been a struggle in all the different areas of life, right? Academics, social, professional, career seeking, the whole 9 yards. With that, in that, I've learned how to move in spaces where there may be not people that look like myself, which has built ample resiliency for me. And I'm very thankful for that. I'd also say, in terms of some kind of more distinct barriers and struggles that I've experienced, one is some familial things, family structure. No family is perfect. And so dealing with some of those nuances, And then also I health issues. When I'm one of those people, and as you kind of say, busy, right? I tend to, I'm my worst critic, and then I'm also my maybe best pusher or coach in a way. And so I can push myself very hard, such that if I get sick, I don't just, oh, I got a cold, it's a slight fever. No, I get back to back very serious issues and usually end up being in the hospital. So I, even when I was born, I had to stay in the hospital for about 2 weeks because I was born with an infection, and my birth was kind of tricky too. So coming out the gate with that type of stuff, but I've conducted some chronic illnesses over my life that I have to make sure to keep in check. And in particular, in terms of a certain incident, I actually had spine surgery, cervical spine surgery in 2021. Yeah, I want to say 2 years ago, but 2024. So maybe 2.5, almost 3 years ago. But yeah, so and thank God I'm here for that. That was pretty scary, but yeah.
Thank God you're here, and thank God you've overcome a lot of those issues. And I'm sorry that you have to get, when you get sick, you get sick for so long. That's got to be a struggle. I live with chronic illnesses myself also, so I do feel your pain. Hannah, some people with all the work you do call you a Renaissance woman. What does that mean to you?
To me, that really just means somebody shining in all their colors. That's one of my favorite phrases or mottos right now that that's been in my head. And it doesn't have to be a woman. And there's obviously historical context behind that term, but it's just someone allowing all of their blessings, skill sets, talents to be utilized and shine in whatever capacities and spaces that are possible. And for me, I draw strength to do that from my faith. And that also has helped build resiliency for me. I identify as Christian. That's my foundation. And I don't get through a day, get through a struggle, get through anything without leaning on that. So
That's incredible. I'm a man of faith, family, and friends. The three F's really get me through my hard days, starting with faith in God and higher power. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think there are so many people in this world that lack faith. It's no fault of their own, but that's their issue. And I think that if we can spread faith far and wide, we can help people find hope, healing, and recovery from whatever brain pain ails them. So I think that's really incredible that you have that. That's wonderful. What, Hannah, I have to ask you, given all that you're involved in, what are you most passionate about in general in life in your respective professions?
yeah, I am most passionate about justice and equity, which is kind of I would say the root of public health, but I think also very much part of the foundation of my faith of Christianity and love and about that. And in that, those are very much embedded within my mission. So personally, I'm very passionate and bent on accomplishing my life mission of being a light of exposure and inspiration in such a way that catalyzes and promotes and progresses justice and equity in this world. Yeah, that's what I'm most passionate.
What current projects do you happen to be working on right now in the entertainment space?
Yeah. So as we mentioned before, busy and balanced, right? It's the biggest thing I would say right now is letting my latest film, World of Diamonds, do well on the film festival circuit. And I know you know what that is and how that works. And that's kind of a sweet space as a filmmaker because you kind of just sit back, you just submit, and it's a lot more hands off in terms of the film process. So it's doing numbers. I'm really excited. It's a short film, experimental genre, pandemic inspired. And kind of spoken word poetry based. It's not yet out to the public because it's sitting on the film festival circuit. It's already won some awards, and it's been in film festivals in different countries, and it's going to be, and I'm so excited because I prayed and I was so hoping that it would get to the continent of Africa. It's going to be in the Out of Africa International Film Festival in April, I believe, which I think is taking place in Kenya, but I need to make sure. So that's the biggest thing that's going on, I would say.
Are you going to go?
I'm working on that, Kevin.
You better try to get there.
I know. I'm working on it. I'll kind of be closer. I'll already be abroad at that point. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
I wish you all the best in your entertainment endeavors. Tell us the name of the film one more time so people can look out for it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called World of Diamonds.
World of Diamonds by Hannah Bonecutter. Incredible. Hannah, how have you known, what path to take in life, career-wise, professional-wise, relationship, etc.? What have been what is your guiding ethos in these things?
I love that word too. It's definitely God and my faith. People ask me that question pretty much frequently enough, and several of my career paths I did not want. They were not my preference. Ask anybody who grew up with me, you never heard me say I want to be a teacher. And I did not go to college for teaching at first. But through various experience, really amazing blessings, God made it very clear, I need you to walk this path.
Mm.
Do it, trust, and it's as we know God's plan is the best. It's ultimate, right? And it has been nothing less. So education has been phenomenal for me. And I've been blessed to be able to teach in not just multiple places of Chicago and in the States, but abroad in different countries. We're ranging with students that in ages of infants through 66-year-olds. And similarly with a few other career paths that including public health, I never wanted to get a master's. Never wanted to go to grad school. We already know how crippling that can be. Needless to say, the strife of all of that. So, but God made it clear and made a way. I prayed on all my major decisions, but it's been really wonderful because I feel as though I really haven't had to make them per se. Again, it's been God is kind of the guiding light in terms of where to walk. Yeah.
Can you talk briefly about some of the things you have taught, like the actual subject matter you've been teaching? I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not in the classroom anymore full time.
Okay.
But when I have been, I've taught all the subjects. So my license is in elementary education, all subjects, and I got a concentration in mathematics. So that's kind of a specialty. And I also did private tutoring for several students, ranging from first graders through, well, kindergartners actually, through high school seniors. And I even prepped high school seniors for the SAT, ACT, all that. But yeah, I've taught all the subjects, and I didn't think I would ever teach early education, but I have, and I've now changed so many diapers, and I do love it. Working with the young ones, and I miss it. I do miss it, but yeah, all the subjects, and I would say I have a real zeal for mathematics, probably.
What is it like making such an impression on such young minds? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love it. I love, and whether it's young or not, I love helping people realize their full potential. I like to think that I'm living in my full potential. And as some people may say, living your best life. But to me, that's a core component of that. That's really the heart of it. And so whether they're 4 years old and figuring out a puzzle, or 16 and knowing that mathematic quadratic formula, I love helping them know that they can do it and even more. But I would also say that it's so impressionable for me too. You can learn. I'm a firm believer in being able that we as humans are able to learn from any and everything. Just pay attention. And I'm definitely a lifelong learner. So I would, from these kids, gain such profound things. One in particular, I have to share this because I just will never forget it. You always ask a kid, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? I asked one of my 4-year-old students that in the preschool classroom, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he looked at me so kind of perplexed, but then really profoundly and said, I just want to be me. And I was like, well, there it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Me too. Yeah.
Hannah, what do you consider to be your greatest success? Or rather, what do you consider to be success?
Yeah, That part, as they say. There's a phrase I've been learning now. I live in Washington, D.C. right now, and I've been hearing everybody say that part. Anywho, I consider success. So I think a key part of that definition that is so important for everyone is that success is entirely subjective.
Mm.
And I think, like many things, media can try to place this standard on success that may only work for 0.01% of the population, or, however, and not be a good fit of what success is to others. And I think that's really important for people to internalize for their own health, mental health, psychological health, emotional, and otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I tend to keep that in mind. And for me, then to put like a kind of a general blanket definition on success, I would say again, it's shining in all your colors, but then based on those colors and your passions, choosing what goals you want to accomplish and accomplishing those. It really kind of gets that simple. For some people, that may be cutting out sugar out of their diet, which is me a bit right now. And that's success. That's success. And I feel successful about it when I'm accomplishing it. So that's how I would define it.
From the simple pieces to the from the simple to the overabundant. That's what you're looking at. Like on this level, that level, it changes with every aspect of your life. I get it.
Exactly.
As an artist of multiple mediums, Hannah, what role do you believe, and this is, I think, really important question to ask, what role do you believe art plays in society? Or what role should it play?
Great question. Art, I think unfortunately, art can get looked over in terms of its importance and impact. In the art community, no, that's not the case. But in, I think some other communities, particularly scientific communities, it can. And when you look at it, if you look historic, art is one of the things that has been here since the beginning of time.
It's tied us all together.
And it's tied us all together as humans. Yes, Kevin. And so that fact alone, I think, is enough cause to not overlook its importance and really see the tool that it can play to improve society for all. And that's the role that I think art should play. Now, that can be done in a myriad of ways. And one quote that really sticks with me that one of my girlfriends said at a show that we hosted that I absolutely love is that art should disturb the comforted and comfort the disturbed.
Wow.
Now that can be, interpreted like art in many different ways, but there's many people that are for me in my head, there's many people that are uncomfortable in this world, let alone, I mean, that can be stretched. I think that's kind of the beginning of it, right? Due to discrimination, biases, all these, right? Historical and present. And if there's some that are comfortable with it, then that means that helps keep it the status quo. But if art can shift their comfort level, disturb it, then I think that opens a door for change.
Yeah.
And that's really important. Yeah, that's art has a huge role to play.
Well, Hannah, what are some of your favorite pastimes outside of the work you're doing? Like, what do you enjoy doing that isn't necessarily work related?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love to travel to new places for me and explore and be immersed in different cultures. I've been blessed to be able to go to several countries and places in the world and do various things and just be immersed there. Again, can learn from any and everything down to an ant, down to chemicals. And I learn and I grow in so many crucial ways when I do that. I honestly think that there's no education equivalent to exploring other places that you otherwise that you're not used to, that you're not accustomed to. I'd love for there to be a policy on that in the future for students, but that's another story. So, but yeah, I love to do that, and I love nature. I love being out in nature. I'm absolutely a beach girl, and just also walking in nature, walking trails, seeing the different trees and hearing the birds. I love doing that. Reading. I'm trying to get better with reading. I want to be reading a few books on a regular basis. And so we're working on that, but definitely reading. So much knowledge within pages and books. And of course, hanging out with friends and family, preferably if it can be somewhere abroad and we're all exploring together, or somewhere new in the States, but um just hanging out, laughing, playing games. I love games. I love charades. I love cards too. So yeah, those are some of my favorite pastimes.
So you're busy and balanced at work, and you're busy and balanced with fun and hobbies. I love it.
I like to think so. Thanks,
That's
Kevin.
incredible. So, what would you say is one of the most difficult parts about your role in working in government? Because I know it's not an easy role sometimes, and I want to know from your perspective, what is the hardest thing about working in government?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say for me, and I had heard this before entering government, just kind of the lengthy process that it is to get some move to the final end post, or the final goal accomplished. There's often several steps and clearances, I would say, that are required for certain things to go from phase A to phase B to phase C. And because there is so much going on, it can take a while for that clearance to get the green light. So that's what I would say. And that can be tough depending on what that project is and what the needs are and who it affects for when it gets complete or whatnot. That's probably the most difficult thing.
And would you say that's legislation based, like getting something from the floor to legislatively effective or in action? Is that what you're talking about?
It goes beyond that. I would say, and I know, that's usually the first thing that comes to people's mind. It was mine as well, but it's administrative tasks too. It's projects on the ground. It's data crunching, depending on it's embedded in a lot.
It runs the gamut of all
Yeah,
of the entire governmental sector. Okay, wonderful.
from my experience.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've had all this success. You've made all these inroads in these incredible industries. You're doing some great things at home and abroad. And you've got films out that are traveling the world. How incredible is that? What are some of your next goals that you hope to accomplish professionally? I would say the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So Kevin, I have a dream.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's hear it. You heard it here first, folks. On the Hines podcast. Come on, Bonecutter, break it down.
So I'll give you a blurry kind of visual for it for legal protection purposes. But I believe from thus far living and praying that my ultimate purpose is to help trailblaze an industry that is not yet here and not yet flourishing. And this industry draws from my different career paths, skill sets, talents, blessings, and puts it in the best and most efficient and effective combination to accomplish the goal of positive change, particularly moving the needle on awareness and action around crucial public health issues, specifically those that most disparately affect those that have been marginalized and historically oppressed in this nation and in the world. Now, I know that again is fairly blurry and abstract. I can't say too much more, but progress is being made on that, and it's probably simply a matter of time or green light opportunity, the right opportunity being placed. Myself and my team, always work in teams, are very clear on the mission for this and the structure and components, just like kind of making a film. And I know you can relate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and this industry also, you can think of it, and it's needed. It's needed, right? Because the progress has to be made on these crucial public health issues. And as we know, an issue is most best solved by those and probably fastest solved by those that are affected by it, if they're involved.
Those who live it.
Exactly, those who live it.
Yeah.
But how can they know of an issue or name an issue if they don't know that issue? They know they may know the effects of it. They may know how they feel, but they don't know what that issue is. And I know I can relate to that. I didn't learn what imposter syndrome was, although I've been experiencing that since I was in second grade.
Wow.
I didn't know what that was until 2019, late 20s, right? But how empowered would I have felt? Maybe how many times would I have evaded this detention if I had known what that was back then? And as an educator, I know that young kids are oftentimes they are underestimated. They can pick up 5-syllable words and say the definition. I know it. I've seen it. So yeah, it's that type of thing. And I was going to say, with any industry, there's a myriad of ways for the goal of the industry to be accomplished. So, this is a big dream. I envision it flourishing far beyond my time here on Earth. But I'm going to do my part to kind of get it up and going. If you think about the sports industry, right, it's for entertainment of athletic degree type, but you got hockey, soccer, football, basketball, all these different mediums through which that goal of the sports industry is accomplished. It's similar, right? Setting up that type of industry. So
okay, well, we're looking forward to it. That's fantastic. Hannah, what are 2 or 3 of your most fond accomplishments in life thus far? 2 or 3 of the things that you are so happy you got to create or cultivate.
One is definitely my films. All right, I got the top 3. My films is I can't choose between them. They're very much all my babies, and I kind of slash my business Bonecutter. That's my baby too. In my head, birthing those, again, as you know, it is extremely difficult and such a arduous process.
Yeah.
And I never thought, Kevin, that I would be behind the camera and leading the vision and leading a team of filmmakers. And I've been on multi-million-dollar sets and just observed as an actor, but observed the process. And it's so much. And never did I ever think I'd be the one kind of steering it.
Yeah.
And that the vision would come from this. Yeah. This one, it's incredible. And then to know that these films have done numbers, and made the right noise in multiple ways, far beyond what I thought would ever happen. And I don't have a degree in that. I don't have a certificate, none of that. I don't have professional training, but God, right?
And the vision.
What it is. And what one of my favorite faith-related quotes is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. And in many ways of my life, that's been quite apparent for me. So my films and Bonecutter has been able to service so many clients. And I pray and hope, one day that can grow as well. As running a business is very difficult. and it really is far beyond a one woman, one man type of thing. But those creations, I would say. And then number 2, this presidential management fellowship, people can go online and search it. I encourage you to. It's been around for over 40 some years, and it's like the flagship leadership program of federal government. And the goal of it is to groom and train who the federal government deems to be and views as the next leaders in America and in federal government. So past presidents have done the PMF. It used to be called the Presidential Management Internship. And a lot of key leaders of federal agencies were PMFs or PMIs. Coming from Chicago, where something like this is very much not public knowledge, I was kind of let in on it by a esteemed professor of mine in my Master's of Public Health program who recommended that I apply. And I'm really thankful. She knows who she is. Thank you. But I didn't, people don't know about it. You could say PMF to talk to, they're like, oh, okay, cool. But when I got here to DC, and for those that have been kind of around federal government and that type of culture, I came to realize this is kind of more so an esteemed award. And I didn't have that background knowledge about it prior. So I'm extremely thankful, and it truly is a once in a lifetime opportunity. The opportunity, the people I'm meeting, the events I can be a part of. I mean, I'm about to go work abroad in the country of Georgia, in Tbilisi, Georgia, and other areas with the CDC because of the PMF. So that's I mean, the connections I'm making are just phenomenal. And then lastly has to be my relationships with family and friends. What is life without that?
Hmm.
And for me, that is a key component of success, because a goal of mine is to have strong, healthy, loving relationships with those individuals. And so that's a huge, and unfortunately, there are many in the world that don't, right? And I don't ever want to take that for granted. So that's definitely a major accomplishment of mine in life.
Amazing. You're doing such good work. Hannah, from a public health perspective, what are your thoughts, sentiments on the future of well-being and public health in America, American society, culture, and overall world today? That's a lot. I can go over that again if you want.
Yeah, give it to me one more time.
I'll give it to you one more time. From a public health perspective, what are your thoughts and sentiments on the future of well-being and public health in America? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think that we are on the precipice of a certain kind of awakening in this country and in this world. And while that can be fearful, it's also quite powerful and inspiring for me, at least. And I think I encourage people to look at it that way. And I think that, and there's multiple different public health issues and topics that are putting that pressure for that to be the current scenario, such as global warming, such as the maternal mortality crisis in America, such as poverty not getting solved, global poverty, by the 2030 sustainability goals. And that offers opportunity for us to, and when I say us, I mean all of us humans, to move with a new sense of urgency and passion on these issues. And so I see innovation, creativity, and effective communication leading the charge in a lot of that, and seizing this opportunity of us kind of being on this edge of, like, are we going to really change, or are we going to kind of let certain things keep going down as a species, as a one, right? I'm very excited about that.
Mm.
And I look to it positively. And even as we speak, there are certain areas that are improving in public health and in certain things. But yeah, that's it. That's what I think.
So kind of will we remain the same and stagnant, or will we grow together as a united front, kind of a thing?
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any advice you would give to the youth growing up today who may be struggling with mental or brain pain? Folks that are struggling with their mind issues, their brain health, their mental well-being. What do you say to them? Look right in that camera and tell them your truth.
I have to say, know that you are loved. Know that you are loved beyond understanding. Know that there are people that you don't know today, some that you may meet in the future, some that you'll never meet, but that are praying for you, that are thinking about you, and that care about you and love you and are working to do things for you and for your future. You're loved. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Hannah, final question. Where can we follow you on social media, watch your content, and learn more about the one and the only Hannah Bonecutter?
Yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. All of those, if you just, honestly, the easiest way I would say, just search Hannah Bonecutter. They'll pop up. But in my link tree, which I'm sure, Kevin, you can share the link. My link tree has kind of it's a great aesthetic visual portfolio of kind of all I do, my websites and links and whatnot. And if you scroll to the bottom, all my socials are there. So that's just an easy click and you're connected there. But yeah, those are the different ways you can connect with me.
So let's go to @Hannah Bonecutter on IG, find her everywhere else on the link tree, and stay in touch with Hannah. Reach out, let her know what you're thinking about all the work she's doing, and give her some kudos for the hard work she's put in to our society to make this world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, Hinesights podcast listeners, viewers, subscribers, and watchers, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Hinesights podcast. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts to Hannah Bonecutter for being an incredible guest. We appreciate you every day. Take care, be well, and be here tomorrow. See ya.
Thank you.